The aim of this project is to identify subgroups of YOPD and their causes in order to stop the disease progression and work towards prevention in future generations. Ceci est notre vision, le projet mené par les patients, et nous avons besoin de votre aide. C'est la propriété des patients concernés. Les données résultantes seront partagées universellement.
People talk about their Parkinson's journey. And yeah, I know it's a bit of an overused cliche. Albeit a journey, it's usually painfully slow and mostly downhill. But this YOPD Working Group is on a global expedition into uncharted territory. We will rely on local YOPD experience and knowledge across the globe. And the journey that began in Kyoto will hopefully take us to Barcelona in 2022. And the route for that journey was in part worked out in a car on the south coast of England.
So the project is basically to try and identify additional gene targets for early onset, for young onset Parkinson's disease. And to do more than that, to correlate those genetic findings with clinical findings and perhaps pathologic findings as well in the patients that have them. So essentially what's involved is spitting in a tube, a bit of mouthwash, doesn't take a lot.
We'll be filming that later.
Yes.
So to look forward to, everyone.
And from swilling around some mouthwash, we can get enough cells from your cheeks and your tongue to make several micrograms of DNA, and with that we can sequence your entire human genome. And the plan is to do that with the help of thousands of patients with young onset Parkinson's disease, and to put that information out there on the web in a secure way and private way, anonymized way, and share it with investigators worldwide, and share it also with, of course, the persons who donated those spit samples in the first place, so that they can also put in information about how they're feeling, how they're doing, how the disease is progressing, what treatments are working and what isn't, and build up a picture basically of genetic variability and clinical variability, and see how the two correlate. So that's the project.
Is anyone doing this already? Is this new cutting edge stuff, or what's so special about this?
So it's special for a couple of different reasons. First of all, it's focused on young onset Parkinson's disease, and there are some similar genetic projects. For example, 23andMe and the Fox Foundation are doing genotyping. Mm-hmm. It's not sequencing, so the difference there is that we're looking at 6 billion nucleotides, and 23andMe are looking at 2.5 million. So there's orders of magnitude of sequence breadth, if you like. Mm-hmm. And they're also focused on mostly late onset Parkinson's disease. They're not focused on early onset specifically. So there's two big differences. And the third difference, I suppose, is that the subjects themselves, the persons themselves who are taking part, I shouldn't say subjects because you don't like that term, although, okay.
Well, it's not me. I've had feedback from people and subjects.
Don't appreciate it, yeah.
No, they want to be people first and foremost.
Yeah, so the people who are taking part in this, I'd like them to also have access to their own genetic information, and I'd like to try and make that information intelligible, accessible, so that people can start thinking about the findings and thinking about the consequences of those for their own health.
There are 4 elements to our project, together forming the bigger picture.
The genetics of YOPD.
Vrouwspecifieke factoren bij jong onset Parkinson.
Wereldwijd onderzoek onder de gehele jong onset Parkinson populatie.
Global promotion and participation in every language.
This is the only full genome sequencing project focusing on YOPD. A significant number within the global Parkinson's population is under 50. Many are likely to have a genetic predisposition to their Parkinson's. But you don't have to take our word for it.
The younger the age at onset, the greater the likelihood that genetics play a role. Today, about 10% of people living with Parkinson's are thought to have an underlying genetic cause as the principal explanation for their disease. While this is a small proportion, these genetic causes help scientists understand how Parkinson's develops and provide possible targets for new treatments.
What we're doing is a survey of people with young onset Parkinson's disease, and the survey is essentially going to be asked by people with young onset Parkinson's disease. This makes it unique, and I believe that we will have better insights than any other previous survey in terms of the scope of it, which is going to be enormous and global, and in terms of the perception of it, which will be entirely from within the community, the Parkinson's patient community, and also the implications of it, the impact of it, which is going to hopefully extend considerably beyond the patient community. Our intention is that this will be informative to both scientists and clinicians as well as patients, which means that we're going to do this robustly and scientifically.
Is the focus more lifestyle-based, medication-based,
No, it's universal, it's global and universal. It's going to go beyond that.
To demonstrate that it goes towards what is described in our post-study, that the disease, the one young onset, needs to be treated differently than general, because the impact is differently.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, Ben, we don't even have a definition of young onset Parkinson's disease, if you think
that was going to be
it.
my next question. Yes.
So,
are we going to?
You know, this will hopefully help to maybe indicate some kind of guidelines for that. And as well, we certainly don't have. If we think of young onset Parkinson's disease, we always say it's different. It's phenotypically different. It's, you know, affects you in different life stages. We need to qualify and quantify that.
Yep.
And I think this has the option, a possibility of doing that.
I thought we have a chance to do something lasting and something important here.
Mm.
And it's going to require a totally different approach to surveys in terms of how we recruit people to the survey and so forth. We really have got to kind of think outside the box here. God, I'm sounding like a management man, aren't I? Horrible. But we do have to kind of think outside the box here.
Let's just run out the flag post and see how it goes, shall we?
Shut up.
Carry on.
Of all those in the YOPD community, women have perhaps been sidelined the most. Finally, there is a movement to address this. Our own women's subgroup has links with many of the other projects out there. We will be working in conjunction with them all.
The fourth piece of our working group YOPD puzzle is promotion and publicity. But how do we incentivize people to take part? Ask a YOPD audience. Juggling work and family, it's a big ask. Add empathy into the mix and you're really in trouble. We do at least know that they are impatient for something to happen.
What do we want? We don't know. When do we want it? Now. What do we want?
When do we want?
We don't know. When do we want it?
When do we want it?
Now.
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 Let's let Johnny in.
Yesterday.
Let's let Johnny in.
Did you say meow?
これは世界中の YOPD コミュニティに取り組む世界規模のプロジェクトです。YOPD のために YOPD によって書かれた多くの言語でパートナー組織が調査の翻訳と配布を手伝ってくれることを願っています。
Finally, the science and technology, and more specifically the genetics, is catching up. We hope the survey will lead to the identification of new subtypes of YOPD. WPC Barcelona in 2022 will provide a huge opportunity with YOPD coming of age.